Welcome to another episode of Geek Master. As usual, I'm your host, Cassius Samuels, and I finally had a chance to catch up and arrive at the conclusion of Marvel's Spider-Man Spider-Verse event, so I thought I'd throw a little review out there, let you guys know my take on the story arc as it concludes. Starting off, I'd like to give Dan Slott and his team of artists credit for doing a fine job of putting the whole event together and building up the tension while steering our heroes to their big moment of victory over the Inheritors. Despite the dark and violent nature of the last battle, there are moments of fun and levity to offset the darkness. Even Spider-Ham comes to the rescue in that regard, with Miles and several other spiders contributing to some very memorable moments. With that being said though, of course the arc was not without its flaws. One of the biggest failings I saw while reading was that there was frequently not enough context given for big developments in the story. Also, it felt like at times the writers were just barreling through the plot on the way to a big finish. There were several moments of truth throughout the event that did not receive an adequate amount of attention that I felt could maybe have been addressed in tie-ins or maybe in the epilogue, but for whatever the case was, I felt like there were several developments in the story that did not get addressed. I enjoyed the overall artwork of the arc for the most part, even though there were times where the storytelling suffers from the use of so many cramped panels that sometimes obscures the flow of the action, to the point in some cases it was tough to even distinguish which of the many spiders was speaking. I think one area in which this issue struggled the most involved the circumstances of reformed villain Karn, who was the exiled inheritor returning to help the spiders defeat his family in the conclusion. Even with a tie-in that was dedicated to his involvement behind the scenes, it felt as if Karn never received the attention he needed in this event, given how crucial he was to its resolution. Karn seems more like a convenient plot device than a fully realized character. It was disappointing considering what a strong impression the villain left in his initial appearance and how much potential his arc held as compared to how it all played out in the end. I also felt like there were several major characters like Miles Morales and Miguel O'Hara from Spider-Man 2099, to name a couple, who did not have much impact on the overall story, and it seemed like they were just kind of there to take up space on the page and make jokes. Also, lots of people rumbled that Otto Octavius' superior Spider-Man didn't get a proper portrayal in this arc after deducing that this Peter Parker had retaken control of his body, which of course brings the revelation that his reign as the superior Spider-Man is doomed. But even though I saw several reviews that expressed nothing but disdain for the portrayal of this unique character, I am still of the opinion that Otto's portrayal was just fine. You have to remember, this was Otto Octavius before the events at the end of Superior Spider-Man, where he eventually realized Peter was the one true Spider-Man, at which time he sacrificed his consciousness in order to revive Peter in his place. I felt satisfied with the conclusion and the epilogue events, and I'm also excited at the prospect of seeing Otto return again in the future in some way or another. In the end, I have to applaud Dan Slott for also finding an elegant solution to the thorny issue of how the spiders were supposed to deal with the Inheritor threat once and for all without Spider-Man having to kill them. Mercy is as much a part of who Peter Parker is as anything else, so the fact that they found a way to adhere to that code while eliminating the menace of a family of super strong immortal vampires hell-bent on wiping all spiders out of existence without besmirching Spidey's good name wins him major points in my book. Not only that, it leaves the door open for them to return again possibly one day. One of the best parts in the conclusion to me was finding out the Inheritors needed the blood of the 3 chosen spiders for a ritual involving the Master Weaver and the Web of Creation. This ritual was basically supposed to help them erase all spiders and what they represent from the multiverse. For instance, Peter's first clone, Kane, otherwise known as the Other in the story, he's killed for this ritual, and his blood is used to erase the existence of all alternate versions of him, including Ben Reilly and all clones from the multiverse. When this happened, I knew there was going to be a cheer of joy from around the world from fanboys who hated the Clone Saga to begin with. I just laughed to myself because I actually like the Clone Saga, and it sucks that they're retconning it to me, but I understand the development and what they were trying to do. It's basically the equivalent of Days of Future Past trying to clean up the X-Men universe. So, whatever, I keep it moving, it doesn't really matter to me. It still happened, I still own the Clone Saga, and I'll still read it over and over, so it's really no big deal. As a whole, Spider-Verse to me is probably Marvel's best attempt at an event comic in years. The core premise and conflict are engrossing the way they celebrate Spider-Man's long and colorful history, which makes for a very delightful read. Even the tie-ins tend to be well crafted and very relevant to the core storyline, so in the end, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give the overall story probably a 7, 7.5. It was a good story. It had its ups and downs. It didn't wow me at any point, but it was easy reading, and it didn't make me feel like I was suffering through the story just to get to the end. So there you go. I want to thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe if you found any value in the podcast. I will see you freaks next time. Take it easy.